Hi, I'm Stephanie Phillips, and you are watching The Comic Vet.
Hello Comic Army, my name is Chris the Comic Vet. Hope this video finds you safe and well. Well, we're back with Chapter 2 of Slabs. Basically, it's going to be an ongoing series where I grab a handful of slabs from my pretty large slab collection and tell stories why they're actually in my PC. This week, I have 6, and we're going to start off with what I feel is probably the most beautiful comic book cover that's been made in the last 6 years. It belongs to Josh Middleton, and it's Batgirl 23, the B cover variant. I saw this online one time, and I absolutely fell in love with this very simple but stunning piece of work. And I quickly realized that I need to pay attention to this artist, Joshua Middleton. So since that point, I picked up a lot of his covers as they get released, and let's be honest, not a lot get released that often. And I ended up looking on eBay for some of these. I actually ended up finding a deal here in Ontario where someone was willing to let this go for a fair price. So I ended up traveling to that part of Ontario and picking up this incredible 9.8 Batgirl 23 with what I feel is the most beautiful cover that's been made in a very long time. I love it, and that's why it's in my PC. It's just a gorgeous piece of artwork. The next book I'm going to show is a little independent book that kind of got popular in a hurry and was tremendous through its first few arcs, and it is Grimm #1. Now, this is just the normal cover A for Grimm #1, and as you can see, it's autographed. Well, that's because it's autographed by the writer Stephanie Phillips. Now, Stephanie Phillips came to Toronto back in 2022 for Fan Expo Canada, which happens the last weekend of August, and she was there signing autographs, and I decided to bring along my Grimm #1, and of course I had to have a witness because I was thoroughly loving Grimm. It's a terrific little series from Boom Studios. It does take breaks now and then between arcs, much like Something Is Killing the Children, but the first couple arcs I really enjoyed. So I'm happy to have Grimm #1 signed by Stephanie Phillips in my collection. The next one is another offering from DC Comics. And if you watched my channel before, you'll know that one of my all-time favorite Elseworld stories came from James Tynion IV and Matthew Rosenberg, and it only came out just a couple years ago. And in fact, it's getting a sequel very soon. You can probably guess what I'm about to show, but it is DC versus Vampires, issue #1. This incredible springboard issue that launches the reader into the world of all the DC heroes and villains taking on an unknown threat in vampires. And the first arc was incredible. The second arc kind of paints a darker picture in the war between the DC heroes and villains versus the vampires. But this is an awesome story. I'm actually working on collecting all 12 issues in the cover A in a CGC 9.8. I believe I have 5 so far. But I love this series. I can't wait for the sequel series, which is, I believe, called World War V. And so I'm looking forward to it. Matthew Rosenberg is the one that's going to be handling that story, as James Tynion IV has moved on from the project. But I'm so happy to have this in my collection. I love this. I highly recommend picking up the trade paperbacks for the first arc and the second arc. If you haven't read it, it is tremendous storytelling. The next one is an A-OK. I have a few good friends in the comic book community, and I have some of those I would almost consider family. One of those would be Rob. Rob from Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics. Him and I are partners in the show that's on his channel, Only Slabs. Every so often, Rob just kind of blows my mind by sending me stuff. Usually, It's only slab stuff like magnets or stickers. Sometimes he sends me t-shirts. He sent me a jersey, stuff that I need to wear for the show. And every so often he sends me a little thank you because I dedicate some time on a Saturday afternoon. And often we have guests come on our show. And I'm often saying, oh, that's one book I wish I had in my collection. And Rob's like, how do you not have that in your collection? Well, hey, like, life happens. Let's be honest. Life happens. And sometimes when you go to Comic Cons with X amount of money, there's something that's shiny that catches your eye, and you end up buying that. And you don't have any money left over for other books that are kind of on your wish list. Well, a book that was on my wish list was The Amazing Spider-Man 252. And long story short, I went to a con and I picked up ASM 252, the introduction of the black suit to the Amazing Spider-Man run. And I picked it up in an 8.5. I made a video of it, and then a couple days later, a package arrives from Rob, and inside that package was the Amazing Spider-Man 252 at a 9.0. So, needless to say, it blew my mind, and of course there was a little laugh because I had finally gone out and pulled the trigger on a book that I've been saying for a long time, oh, I need to get that book into my collection. And Rob ended up, without realizing it, sending me a higher graded version of the book that I had just picked up. So I quickly took the 8.5 and I moved on from it. I actually moved on to it for a different slab. And that slab I'll show in a later episode. So make sure that you're subscribed. And while you're at it, make sure that you hit that like button and get a comment ready. Let me know, are you enjoying this series? I look forward to your responses. But Rob was quick to say, hey, Chris, that 9.0 that I picked up for you, yeah, it's a real nice copy. But if you look closely on the back cover, there's actually a bend that he believes can be pressed out. And if it does get pressed out, Rob believes that this 9.0 can go much higher. 9.4, 9.6 territory. So we will see, because I am planning on turning this book over to a pressing company that I've quickly developed a good relationship with, and seeing if they can actually press out the little bend. See if we can get it to show. That is here. And if it does come out, I think Rob might be right. It might go into a 9.4. Either way, I'm very happy to have this particular book in my collection, and I'm glad that it was a gift from my good friend Rob, from Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics. Okay, the next book I'm going to show is a yellow labeled book that I picked up recently at the Montreal Comic Con. Now, what I should say is I actually got it signed at the Montreal Comic Con and then got it slabbed. So I had the opportunity to win a contest. And from that contest, I went and met Greg Capullo for a private signing, and it was pretty cool. It ended up being a private affair where I believe there's like 80 to 100 fans. He did a small Q&A session. Everyone ended up getting a print that was autographed, and you were allowed X amount of books to get signed. Well, being a Wonder Woman fan and a Yara Fleur fan, I decided to get Death Knight's Death Metal issue number 7, the embossed, beautiful cover that was done by Greg Capullo, and to have him sign it. So as you can see, we had this great portrait of Wonder Woman and Yara Fleur, and the Wonder Woman logo in gold behind, and there's the Death Metal trade dress up there, and Capullo signed right across that embossed portion. There we go. And I think it looks tremendous. I'm very happy that it came back in a 9.8 because, you know, like, you get nervous when you carry books for X amount of time and at cons and you're banging into people, because cons don't necessarily have the widest aisles and stuff. But I'm very, very happy to have this in a 9.8 and to have Greg Capullo sign it. Scott Snyder is the writer for this. maybe if Snyder were to make an appearance in and around Toronto or to a convention that I was going to be traveling to in the United States, maybe I would bring this along to get it cracked and signed. But maybe I would have him sign it between the two characters here, because Greg Capullo signed this in a great, great spot, in my opinion. Either way, I'm happy to have a Capullo CGC book in my collection. And the last book I'm going to show is a sign-in sketch that I got done for free by a superstar creator. I used to live in the city of Guelph, which is about 65 kilometers or about 45 to 50 miles due west of Toronto. And in that city, there is a very nice comic shop called The Dragon. They've had a lot of big writers and artists show up there over the years. Ken Lashley comes to mind, Chip Zdarsky comes to mind. But they also, on a rare occasion, had the opportunity to bring in Jeff Lemire. And he came in and was signing autographs. And I happened to have All New Hawkeye, issue number 1, the blank cover. And I asked him, hey man, would you mind just doing a quick little remark? And he said, sure. Of who? And I said, of Hawkeye. So I was expecting just that, a little remark and his cool signature. What I got was not a remark. I got a full-size sketch of Hawkeye by the writer Jeff Lemire. Now, as you know, Lemire does often do his own pencil work. He didn't do the pencil work for this particular mini-series that was done by, what does it say here? Ramon Perez. Sorry, there's actually like a little typo there. It actually doesn't say Ramon Perez properly. Maybe this book needs to get reslabbed, reholtered. Either way, I was blown away by what he felt a remark was, but again, he gave me a real cool take on his distinct art style for Hawkeye, and then autographed it right there, and didn't charge me a damn thing. Not a penny. Again, he was very quiet, and that's kind of his style. He would answer questions, but it was very short for whatever questions I asked. And I did actually ask him a lot of questions about Descender, an Image independent story that he had just finished up at the time. And I got this book autographed and sketched way back in the winter of 2015. And yeah, this is something that's going to be in my PC forever, just because of the great memory and the generosity of Jeff Lemire himself. And every time he does something nowadays, I generally pick it up. And now that I think about it, some of his best stuff recently has been Swamp Thing, Green Hell. If you haven't had the opportunity to read those DC Black Label Prestige format books, I highly recommend Swamp Thing, Green Hell by Jeff Lemire. But happy to have this in my collection. So that's it, Comic Army. That's 6 slabs and a little bit of storytelling, just like that. So again, make sure that you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you leave a comment. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you're interested in becoming a channel member, there are now 2 tiers for you to select from. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Till we see you again, take care.